Hello, I'm Ian Thomason from Thomason Property, and on this month's show we've got a great property for you which we're going to feature. I've got some information for you about how to make sure your house does sell in a buyer's market, but before we go to that I'd like to take you to Kevin Turner for this month's market update. Thanks, Kevin.
Well, thank you, and this comment is coming to you from Moncomo down on the beautiful Redcliffe Peninsula. The point I want to make in this comment is not to be too quick to judge the market because of some stats that you might see. In fact, I was in Melbourne just last week and I was absolutely amazed to hear commentary about how the market has been falling because auction clearance rates have dropped from a normal 80+% down to 61%. The auction clearance rate is simply a figure that indicates how many properties actually sell on the day of auction. It needs to be understood that the auction is a three-stage process. As well as selling under the hammer, properties can sell before the auction or even in the days that follow. As an example, an agency on the north side of Brisbane recently conducted an in-room auction featuring 19 properties. One sold before the auction, one sold on the day of the auction, which meant that 17 were left unsold. Well, on the surface, you'd think that's not a good result. But let's think just a little bit deeper. Because of the activity that was generated by the marketing of the 19 properties, I believe that an additional 14 sold in the few weeks after the auction day. 16 out of 19 properties. It's not a bad story, is it? So don't be too quick to jump to conclusions about the state of the market based on some stats that tell only part of the story. I'll see you next month.
Good morning and welcome to the show. I'm Kevin Turner. We're here to talk real estate.
Whether you're following the property market or just interested in what's going on, Australasia's #1 independent real estate advisor Kevin Turner has the answers. Every Saturday 8 to 9 on 4BC.
Well, thanks for that, Kevin. Now I'd like to talk to you about how to get a sale of your property in this current market. We've just had the election and obviously as a result of that there's promises of stamp duty reduction, etc. But I believe we're still going to be in a buyer's market. One of the things that we need to do then to obtain a sale, or one of the things that sellers need to do, is to make sure that your property is presented properly. The first impression for a buyer can have a huge impact on the way they do the inspection. And when we say first impression, we're talking about the moment that you pull up at the street. You need to have your footpath properly mowed, you need the garden tidy. If you say and have an attitude, well, the council's responsible for the footpath and it isn't looking good, you've got a problem. So take care of the footpath, make sure the edges are done, make sure that your shrubs are pruned properly and that the garden is looking tidy. The first impression is really important. The next thing, of course, is the internal impression. And you've all seen TV shows that talk about decluttering, etc., etc. I'm here to tell you it's all true. Just have a few personal items around, declutter your house, make it look interesting, and one of the things especially, or two of the things especially to do is particularly take care of the kitchen and the bathroom. They need to be absolutely spotless. If you've got an office area, make sure that it looks like a tidy business centre. If you've got a garage and a workshop, make sure the tools are hung up behind the workbench and the workbench is clear so that if a man's walking in there, he can see himself using that space and having an imagination that he can do whatever he wants to do. Then there's the emotional side of a purchase. Particularly pay attention to aromas, to presentation, to flowers, things like that. Even children's rooms are important. Have some interesting toys just strategically placed in the room. Believe it or not, children have an impact on parents and form part of the decision-making process. We've seen many a time where a child will come into a house and say, "Mummy, this is my bedroom." That's an emotional tag into that property. Ask for advice from your agent about what you should do, what you should take out, what you should leave. Your agent has a strong interest in getting you a result, getting you the best price and getting it as quickly as he or she can, and therefore the advice they're going to give you is going to be good. Does that sound like a lot of work to do? It does. So how do you overcome this? How do you get away from the time consumption? First of all, you need to program open for inspections. By having a regular open for inspection, it gives you the opportunity to really stage set your home, particularly if you've got children, so that it can be picture perfect on the day when buyers are going to come through. Now, a lot of agents who are too lazy to do open for inspections will say, don't do them, they're a security risk, you'll have things stolen. Can people steal things? Yes. Do they? Well, the only way I can answer that is by saying that in the 40 years I've been selling real estate, and the hundreds and hundreds, thousands of open for inspections and auctions that I've been involved in, never once has anything disappeared from a house. So don't be scared off by these tactics by people who aren't prepared to do the work, because to sell a house today, you need to make it easy for people to inspect. In assisting you work out how you should have your house list presented, I would recommend that you go to a building display village and have a look at the way builders display their homes to sell to the public. Look at the way the gardens are presented, look at the way they're furnished, look at the way the whole ambience of the place is set up, and duplicate that in your own home. Now, the other thing I would suggest is before you go to the market, you get a building and pest inspection done. This is like a health check for your house. If there are any problems, you've got the opportunity then to fix them before a buyer finds them and then surprises you with the result. Usually when that happens, the price that has been negotiated to get the deal obviously gets readjusted to cater for the problems, or the sale falls through. So I would say to you, prepare yourself. Make sure everything is good. Make sure the house looks good. Make sure you've got the house health check so that when you do get your buyer, you know that you've got a sale which is going to stick. And with that, talking about presentation, I'd now like to take you to this month's feature property. Well, that's our feature property for the month, so why don't you come along and overlook the people that overlook the river. All the details of that and the open for inspection times can be obtained by contacting us at the office or going to our website, thomasonproperty.com.au. So until next month, happy property hunting.